All right, guys, it's JD, the mobile trader, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. And we're doing this is the after party from Mo's Charts with Mo program or session. So we're going to rock out and see what's happening. So first up will be Sean C. What's going on, Sean?
Not much. What's going on, JD?
Nothing much. Just out here in spring training, trying to see a few ball players, see a few prospects, and make something happen. But I think the market's setting up. What are we going to take a look at tonight? I know you had something in the you know in the hopper.
I, crypto been spoiling me. I've actually been doing long plays now, but I'm really looking at OCGN
That's
for
not crypto.
a
That's not crypto,
no,
is it? Okay,
no,
OCGN.
that's a vaccine.
Oh, you
It's the
jumping
only
into the.
vaccine that's the only vaccine that's going to be able to be given to children under 10. It doesn't need a refrigeration. It's based out of
Oh,
India. So,
let's see. Well, it's a
it's
big
looking
base
good right
setting up,
now. EAU.
and a lot of let's see. I'm on the week. Let me go to the daily. Are y'all seeing my You seeing
We
my?
don't see your charts. We see
I see YouTube.
your YouTube
Uh,
screen.
I'm glad I didn't have something foolish up there. Okay, here we go.
So it got that gap it need to fill, I guess. I guess that's around the $15 mark.
Yeah. And there's another gap prior to that that might be the
Oh,
one, that 20. Wow. Well, see, okay, the volume right now, 3 million, 13 million. Then all of a sudden, the last, early at the start of the year, you got your 7,918,000,000.
yeah. The volume hasn't been good right now, but
Oh,
there
that's
has been a lot of
crazy.
institutional buy-in. They waiting on EAU
Oh, the volume's
emergency.
big though. It's,
Uh,
well,
Not
I
as
mean,
big as it usually have been.
okay, yeah, back in
But
February.
it doesn't need refrigeration. It's going to be an only vaccine that's going to be able to give children under 10. Um, I think if I'm not a vaccinator, but if I do get one, that
Hmm.
will be the one I get. So I'm waiting on it, and it should
Well,
be coming any day now.
I mean, just it's coming down to news. It's a catalyst setting up, and it looks like, I mean, it's kind of going into just a little bit of just consolidation right in here. Hadn't fallen below that level. The news is either going to pop it or drop it down to that field, down to this gap. We're
Hmm.
going to, or it's how they. But this is a great price. I mean, if it's something that you researched and you, I know how you dive in and you get your research going. So there's
Yeah.
not much for me to say about this one other than if anyone else is listening, Sean has her program in place. She has her why. That's Mo talks about the why. I talk about the reasoning behind our moves, and you kind of listed it out there. So there's no chart pattern, so to speak.
Mm-mm.
But I mean,
Not
other than
really.
just the trend line, and the thing with biotechs is it's so heavily news driven that it could it'll trump any pattern that's set up. So we could have the best laid pattern, the best laid plan, perfect Fibonacci, whatever we want, and you get news from just like with Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca. You would think AstraZeneca, when they halted over in Europe, it would have tumbled, but it actually popped a few times. It's kind of in a downward trend, but this one, that's the wedge break that we will be watching, whether it breaks up or breaks down. Nothing to trade with this one. Just this is
Mm-mm.
a speculative buy and hold that could, you know, could break in the way you want it. It's just establish. I mean, this isn't for you, Sean. This is for everybody else. Just establish your time horizon. Check the news because a lot of the you can sift on Twitter a lot, and if you get on Twitter, you can type in OCGN, like you can put the $ OCGN, and that'll populate if anyone is putting news about that particular stock, or you can put the hashtag OCGN and see what pops up. And a lot of times you can go down a wormhole and find some info, some leaked info and things like that. But I mean, it, hey, why not? If you're trying to make that big hit, you gotta speculate at some point, but just establish time horizon and be prepared to take a hit if it doesn't, but be prepared to, if it does pop, have a
Have a
profit target.
plan.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, do I keep this? Am I
Yeah,
keeping this for 5 years? Am I going to put some more in? Because it's volatility. I mean, just the moves that pop up there, pull back. So that's
it
just
went to 18 and then from 15 to 18, it went to 15 to 18 and then it went back down to 6 and then it closed the gap to around 5 something dollars.
hmm
So I've been holding before that. I think I'm in a little bit around 4 or 3,
okay.
a little bit at the end of $3 or $4,
Well,
um, 3K in. But so
okay.
that, and then you also have to realize that this is also, um, Bill Gates has some money in this, and you have to also think about our vice president that's also kin to India, and this is an India vaccine as well.
Well, here's one. With if you guys are searching for holders, I'm along with I go to Yahoo Finance, and I'll put this up here. Just I mean the basic Yahoo Finance, and if you're doing your due diligence, and let me pull it up on the screen. Thank you, Sean. Thank you for that one. Let's see. Let's pull up Yahoo Finance, and when I go in there, I'll put in those. And sometimes it might not have info, but the idea is like we're trying to just get as much to see who the players are in that particular ticker. And I think that's it. Oxygen. Uh, and go right down here to holders. Click on holders. It's going to take a little second. And it'll give you how many institutions, the type of institutions that are in there. What I like to do is I scroll down and see which particular institutions are holding, and that lets me know. BlackRock is big money. Vanguard Group is looking for State Street, but Bank of New York Mellon. All these company names. These are stakeholders in that particular company. It doesn't mean it's going to go to the moon, but sometimes you might not even see three key stakeholders in a particular issue. So oxygen is something to keep an eye on. We're going to do crowd for Kylan, and yeah, Kylan. Let's see here. Has a nice setup, has a nice reversal. Let me go back to the screen, get the screen set up like without, which I always forget. All right, on a daily chart, oxygen, crowd had a nice run. I mean, just the different levels, and it pops and retests all the time and goes into trading ranges as they accumulate shares. It'll pop, find a trading range, break out again, and right now with CrowdStrike, the key move was this double bottom right here. See, and guys, we always look to the left on the screen, like it's because right now, let's just say, I mean, price goes, that's called a hard right line. We don't know what's after that, but we know what's to the left. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but the probabilities of a pattern setting up, types of news, support and resistance levels that we can see are to the left. So as I go over, what we had is the sell off. I know something happened here, probably starting back here with it, trying to gain something and it just sold off. So it's breaking back up into uh, supply right now. So I think the run is going to stall for just a little bit because this was a perfect 3-pin reversal, double bottom pop. It could even be, I mean, if I wanted to say baby head and shoulders, head, left shoulder, baby right shoulder on the pullback, and that would be the neckline, give or take. And it's broken out. Kylan, I don't know if you're in it now. I would hope the entry was right in this area after the neckline break, or if somebody got in down here, it was a gutsy play. It's not fully extended, but it's coming up to that level. So I don't know what your goal is right now, but the move is en route. I mean, it's happening right now, and I'm thinking, what are we at? 216. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah, we're coming up towards resistance. Like 220, man, is going to be an area of kind of watch out for. See if it sells off around there. Because
Exactly.
on that 4 hour, so the idea is it might sell off and create a little bit of consolidation or trading range and set up for another breakout. It just there's let me just check let's check something real quick. Are you in it already?
Oh no, not at all. It just literally just caught my eye.
I'm gonna see these charts because a lot of the market makers have been pinning stocks on Fridays, man. On the it and it's been working pretty well. And CrowdStrike, a lot of open interest right there around the 220 handle. That's where that resistance is, man. And that's they're gonna try to pin it Friday, man. They would probably try to pin it below 220, and I think that's where you're gonna run into resistance. So let it play out. I mean, yeah, it would be a tough trade to try to get in here and really scalp this
Yeah.
because I see the selling pressures coming in with the wicks on top, and as you know, and we could, I mean, their support 208, man. It might take a haircut. It might take an uptown fade, man. 210, 211, which won't be that bad. It'll just set up for another entry. Let's see. Yeah, that's. I don't see anything right now to where it's like time to jump in. The move is really been a good move. It broke a bearish trend line and found support, man. So let's see. Anything else in the anyone wants to drop in the chat? I want to show. I've been looking at this one, semiconductor area, guys. For the okay, okay, Michelle Reed, point guard will be next. I think Michelle is a hooper, lockdown defender on the perimeter. Uh, all right, okay, yeah, I know that name. And the thing is, guys, with the semiconductors, the semis, it's all like it blends into what Michelle's looking for with Ford, and it blends into EV. It blends into the infrastructure. It blends so the news stories, the headlines are going to be catalysts for it. So President Biden was meeting with the chip producers because we're having the chip shortage. So, but if we dig deeper, there's automotive grade chips. I think NVIDIA produces automotive grade. Taiwan Semiconductor produces it. Uh, and NXPI. So that's the research line that we do now. If there's production stops, production halts, like Ford F-150 was halted for a couple of weeks or something. To me, if your time horizon is a few years or a year, a couple of years, that's a that's a gift. If we get a pullback on an entry, because Ford is a slow burner. Taiwan Semiconductor, I hopped in a little early today, um, but it's setting up for me for a move. And Mo talked about it in his session tonight. And the thing about it, when you decide to get in, you can exit. You can set your exits up it's a low risk play right now because you exit out right at the bottom of this candle right here. The low of this candle is 120.35. That's like, so the 120 handle, give or take, was my exit. I think I put down 1 second. We have to be prepared to lose on a move. You know, I'm not saying we want to, but my exit is 120.34. And I'm looking for a push because it's going to run into supply also. So there's a tight window, you know, like, I mean, a $3 to $5 move, but the options weren't that bad on Taiwan Semiconductor. So I wanted to actually hop in because I had a game today and I didn't want to miss my entry. That's not always an excuse, but it was my excuse. It played for me. So I put in in Facebook, we were looking at the April 3rd options. I rarely do that. And I was looking at that 120, April 16th, 120 call, and it had 16,000 open interest. So that's going to be it's already broken through that. And it tested support and it held today. So I'm looking for a push. But I prefer, guys, this is a little bit pricier now, but it might have fallen back. The 120, the May 21st 120 is a strong one. And the 125 is also that's like we're at the borderline of what I would say, hey, this is a comfortable move. The best move if you want to play Taiwan Semiconductor, one of the better moves. I mean, I'm in the 120, but it's a little bit pricier. The 115, that's in the money. You got a 71 delta. That's like kind of I don't know, a wives' tale. 71% chance for this stock to be in the money at expiration. That's what you want your delta to get. Delta gives you strength. It gives you strength in the play, and it also, you can look it up on Investopedia and add to that. But I like how this lays out. Let me look in the chat real quick. I see something popping in.
Also, Intel and Medtronics is supposed to
Medtronics.
be a part of this chip thing as well, which I thought they just did medical stuff, but apparently they're doing something else.
MDT from Medtronic, or well,
Let me see.
Intel is definitely part of it. I saw Medtronics pop across CNBC today. Let me pull up Forward real quick for Michelle. But Intel is getting love, just that entire sector. But anything that has automotive grade quality chips, kind of research that and see if that's something that that catches your attention.
Medtronics is MDT.
Okay. Michelle, on Ford, are you're looking long term? Right now, Ford has broken above the riffraff, and it's kind of in the trading range.
I'm actually in the option play for May 21st for 13.
Okay, May 21st, you looking for the let me see that $13 call. Okay, you got time. And think about Ford, man. Ford moves like 45 cents a day, unless something happens, unless they, they're gonna make some. If they pop with the EV, like something special with the EV, but that $13 call, we're at 1220. It's a lot of open interest.
I'm in a $12 call for January of 22.
Okay. I like the longer term, Michelle. I like the longer term play on Ford, because right now. Hey guys, I'm gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna close the mics and then for the background. It's Ford. I I can't predict what it's going to do by the 21st, but this setup is testing. It needs to hold support. It needs to hold support even like right at $12, like 1201. From there, it when I say hold support, it's coming down a little bit. You know, it's coming off of a push up, stair stepping down a little bit, tested a limit up here, sold off, but it's finding support because if we go in zoom in a little bit more, you see the wick on the bottom, a little bit of buying pressure coming in, a little bit. I'd like to see more. Um, that's not a bad option. That 13 and the Ford options aren't crazy. They don't, they don't cost, just like a Tesla call option right now. But what I want to show you is definitely I always talk about the ATR. I got to check it all the time and to see if Ford has changed. I don't think it's changed at all. It's 41 cents. That's the range of its moves throughout the day from like the high to the low, and in comparison to like Amazon at $68 a day, Shopify 57, Tesla's up there at 40. So we're at $13 call. The May 21st, it could pull back to $12. Let's say it goes 1240, 1280, 13. Set your stop. Ah, boy. Whatever you're comfortable with losing, establish that, and then you might have to just ride it out because it's not a setup to say, oh, this is about to pop. This is a setup to where it's saying it's like, okay, something needs to occur for us to find support. But it's just been in a little bit of a trading range, and I'm trying to see if that's starting a bear trend, but there's nothing negative about Ford. I like the one Sean's in too. If you wanted to get into another uh, option down the road, Ford's leaps. I'm in this one right here, this January 21st, 2022. I think Sean was talking about it. I'm in the $10 call option. It's 265,000 open contracts, and that is trading at 310 by 315. So you might just have to ride it out, Michelle. There's nothing pretty about it. I like Ford. I think Ford. The last thing, real quick, whenever Ford has their earnings, okay, Ford retools headquarters. See, starts getting ready for their next move. Okay, and Ford's popping in the news with General Motors. So when they start talking when they start mentioning Ford with the legacy automakers, but the legacy automakers who are embracing EV are getting love. Once this chip shortage kind of works itself out, I think Ford could pop, and it might happen before before expiration. If you take a hit or take a loss on it, it's the cost of doing business, and I know you'll be back in it. But long term, I think I see Ford as it just took forever for this thing to move off the Rona waterfall. It just bam came down, made a double top here, cup and handle, whatever pattern we want to do. It came out of it and was still underwater, and it shredded along, broke up, and it just takes time for Ford to make its moves, and it's a slow burner, but they have a lot. I don't do a lot of fundamental like with earnings and things like that, but Ford they make sales, they produce, create, innovate on. Never mind, I don't want to drop that. They produce cars, legacy automaker. So longer term is better, but that May 21st, we'll keep our eye on that. It might pop. It might pop because we need that catalyst. Okay. I went long on that. Since along those lines, guys, within the semis, that one of the things Mo and I've been talking about, but I've been looking at a little bit more is fintech, and fintech is part of the reopening, in my opinion. And today, you know, we had the vaccine news, and that was a bunch. You look for noise or signal. The vaccine panic of like Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca, that was it. I don't know. It was noise to me because it it's gonna settle down. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. So all the stay-at-home stocks popped. You know, I think Zoom went. You know, you can get Zoom, Netflix, everything that you know, Grubhub and things like that. Like look at the candle right here. Just a it's been nothing but chop, mess, nothing. All of a sudden, the most random of news events. Oh, Johnson and Johnson baby powder vaccine is causing you know causing freckles to fall off. You know whatever. I mean, not making jokes about if anyone lost their life, but I'm just saying that you had the random candle. That's a surprise candle. So we're still with it it bounced off Johnson and Johnson's news, which everybody interpreted it to be okay, it's positive for the stay-at-home stocks. So I consider what we heard today as noise right now. Now I'm looking for signal. Uh, fintech, I've been watching this one right here. Um, Mo can pronounce it. I can't even. I think it's FISV. Let's see. One second. And I think within the fintech sector, you have that on the periphery and also within the heart of it, you're gonna go with Visa, Mastercard, Square, PayPal, all the ones that process payments. And this is setting up for me, guys. I got a lot of stuff on my chart. I've been looking at the inverse head and shoulders. I got the even on the lower time frames. I heard somebody drop my Bobby Brown, hit it or quit it. I'm gonna coin that phrase. And Bobby not gonna get money. I'm gonna get some money from it. But this is setting up, man. Let me. I'm trying to back out, and we're going up to a double top. So that's the issue. And when you test, a lot of times when you test a breakout or you try to break out or break through resistance, your first initial test is going to either fail or you're going to push through and come back and retest. So if I zoom in a little bit more, and this is a nested inverse head and shoulders, head, left shoulder. This could have been the right shoulder if I wanted to do that. It already broke. We had another, I could use that whole thing as a right shoulder and do it there. And we're trying to break above this trend line. So, and guys here, okay, we had the big head and shoulders. This is going to turn into a little charting session, man. At the big head and shoulders, right here, the official, and this is called, we have a nested head and shoulders, a head and shoulders within a head and shoulders. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Now, we could fail and create an even bigger right shoulder, or we're at, I mean, we're right at it. My old line, I'm become a more mature person, but this is a tip in drill right here. Just put the tip in, and then it fails. Put your poke your head in, like okay, come back out. Now, the more times you test a level of resistance or support, the more time you test it and fail. If you test it when it finally does break through a volume, it makes an explosive move. That the probability of that happening is higher. Now it's not a guarantee, but we are at a limit right here, and I'm looking for a breakthrough. After hours, kind of flat. I mean, 123.81 by 124.75. So a nested head, inverse head and shoulders within the larger head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. That's a bullish move for me, guys. Let me set something up for you. And put something in the chat if you guys want to see, if you want me to look at another stock or anything like that. And let me see here. All right, there we go. But there's a setup there, and the news guys. I say fintech. Fintech will survive whether we're looking at stay at home or reopening, because if it reopens, all the processing occurs. You know, payment processing. I mean, let's see what Square's looking like. Square been running, man. It's sold off, and you got Square. Let's see Visa. Visa's breaking out, and it's actually built. It's consolidating. Oh my goodness. Oh, Visa. Okay, okay. I just looked at Square. I kind of rushed through Square, Kylan, my bad. But folks, Visa, man. Visa might pull back a little bit. Or just, I might have to do some sit down with Visa for a little bit. Let's look at the options on Visa, guys, real quick. Anybody in here in Visa? I'm thinking open interest probably crazy. Yeah, man, 24,000. Don't go down here. Look, don't get cheap on it just because you start seeing like 79 bucks and you see 2,000 or 10,000. Don't you gotta, even though it might work out in 38 days, and then you be like, oh, I'm gonna do it like this every time, and something's gonna hit, it's gonna cut you. Uh, Visa gets a little pricey with that, and I think Mastercard is even pricier. They run they run lockstep. Mastercard usually leads the way with Visa. Everybody's in Visa. Everybody's over in Visa, man. Okay. Hmm. Volume is steady. Ooh boy. Okay. Okay, Mo. Okay, and I'm gonna use the chat. I'm gonna just use the chat. Visa is going to blockchain and things. That's it, Sean. That is it. Okay, guys, start doing some due diligence on Visa. If you have, I use one of my due diligence, I guess, tools is Investors Business Daily, but you can also you can go to Yahoo Finance, you can go to YouTube, and people do all kind of that June 18, 2:30 call on Visa from Michelle. Y'all, okay, Visa's getting a little bit, I mean, it's picking up some momentum. June 18, 2:30. And that's a great price. We're looking at the Delta is right on the border, right there. 10,000 over. Yeah, man. Okay, here, let's go to IBD real quick, guys. I'm gonna show y'all something easy to kind of look up. It's a very good website. I mean, to get the full breakdown, you have to get a membership, but I mean, they also have a lot of the free information is good. But I usually, if I want to do a little breakdown on a stock, I'll do a quick quote, put it in here. And I'm just looking, I'm not worried about the composite rating as much. Square's number one in this financial credit card payment. So Square has taken the lead, but I was looking to see if accumulation is coming into this. It's at a C minus, but it's still green. But when I start seeing titles of like fintech companies to buy and watch, PayPal, Square, cool off, things like that, then you start seeing the name of the stock that you're liking pop into the news feed. And if you see it scroll across that ticker on CNBC, I know people say CNBC is, is just for show, but no, they have some good info. They put we can sift through the chaos and find signal within there. So I think Visa is it's not a great breakdown for my checklist on IBD, but it's just there's nothing that gives me cause or concern. And I like that June 18th. You got 66 days to get that $9 pop. You don't have to, and you don't have to get to 230 because if you got in a little earlier, you're probably in profit. It's and Visa moves. So it's going to move. And guys, if you're going to watch it, watch that sector, watch the fintech sector overall, and just see because if one of them is moving, if Mastercard, Visa moves at $4.21 a day, so that's a good enough move, for you to recover, but set your stop loss and give yourself some space on here. If the bear case for Visa comes in play, it really comes in. You could set that stop at 211. I mean that's kind of wide for the money. The support comes in right in here, but really if you're swinging it and you're trying, you can make a wide stop and you can let it. If it falls below like this 211.35 area, we're thinking about a bearish play, and if it is really time for a reversal, you start getting below these areas. That 206, 205. So yeah, that thing is in prime position. I just think it's extended right now, but it's not crazy on my RSI. It's not overbought. So I think it's actually at a wedge pattern. I mean, not a wedge pattern, but basically a bull flag to another. It could be a pennant. It could be another wedge pattern. Just it's established in itself. We need to get a little bit more data from when I say that. Good Lord. There we go. There we go. Here's the bear case again, guys. You come down, if you sell off, because we can't, well, we can, but it could push up to right here for a double top. But a lot of times, we have dojis, we have selling coming in right here. Doji right there. There might be a pullback, $3-4. I mean, it moves $4 a day. So expect a little bit of a pullback. It might come down to this little area, 217. It might dip a little bit lower, but be comfortable with that move. If it starts to fall below here, that's when you start considering like, okay, that reversal may be in play because previous levels are right here. If I extend it out, we come back, that 211 area. So we always look to the left. If you want to hold it through that, you have 66 days. If it starts coming down here, the bull case is done for that period in time. You could also draw a trend line, right? There we go. 1 second. I could draw the trend line from here and run it up. And that's kind of an acute trend line. And the wedge pattern could break down right into here, 216. Just expect a pullback and then a continuation, or expect a pullback in a little bit of a trading range because some decisions need to be made right around, in this area. But we've gotten above all of the supply that was down here. Now we might come back and retest a little bit of these areas, but it's above supply. When I say supply, it's like initially it had a lot of activity up here. You sold off back down there, and you come back up to the previous levels of activity where there were buyers and sellers. So you're not just going to push through that. It's going to be some action. People will take profit. People will, they'll initiate a short play when we get a double top. When we come back into traffic, you have to navigate the traffic, and it's done that. And now we need to see what the next move is. And it actually could be 220.57 is an area. to 2028. You know, so in that 220 range, start looking at that. If we fall below that, don't panic, but just keep your eye on it. I like that, man. COVID variant. So OCGN, guys, keep your eyes on OCGN. Sean's put some gems in there. Let's see. You talk a little bit more about due diligence. You mentioned IBD, Yahoo Finance, YouTube, CNBC, the words. Due diligence means just research, your comfortable level of research before you make a move, whether it's a long-term buy and hold, a trade, a scalp. It's just, it is a cliche statement and it's thrown around, but I mean, it just comes down to like, I mean, whether it's a real estate move, whether you're at the party and you're gonna get hooked up with a friend, you know, your friend's gonna hook you up with somebody, you're gonna pull the LinkedIn page on that person. You know, you can go on Facebook and social media, just that type of due diligence to see if anything is happening, any news, any congressional negative remarks, negative commentary. And when you do get in, it'll, like Sean had her plan laid out. Michelle Reed has her program where she's in Ford for that short-term play, but she's also in Visa with the, you know, so I know I can tell off of certain moves that, okay, Michelle's getting into swing trading with the options. Sean will do both. She'll do a long-term buy and hold. She'll do a speculative play that she's run due diligence on. And when I say that, I'm saying Sean has a feel for what the hurdles are for that vaccine, for that particular company, the roadmap, what their time horizon or timeline is. So let's see. SOS. Okay, let's peep SOS. Thanks for coming in, Colin. I missed it, man. Let me see one more time, make sure I didn't miss anything. And the mining, and guys, and I had a mining operation with for Bitcoin. That was like, I mean, 4 or 5 years ago when people would look at me crazy, and it was hitting. But the only negative, and I really think this is going to be one of the reasons that eventually, because I'm a big Bitcoin supporter, but I believe eventually the intrinsic value within Ethereum is going to be strong, because Ethereum, everybody writes the contracts on Ethereum. The data's on the blockchain for Bitcoin, but there's a lot of anonymity, but you can dig through and kind of filter and decipher what's going on. But when you do a contract, with SOS, guys, this is something where you have to do your due diligence, guys. I don't really do the penny stocks, but I don't turn them down, because if somebody drops that name and you know that person, you know that they research and they have news, they have information. It's not just a chat room like, hey, man, get in SOS and thank me later. And you don't know why that person's saying thank me later. Sean just referenced Mara and Riot and the Bitcoin mining. That's a big thing. And the mining side of things, which I say we're going to have a little bit of a paradigm shift, because everybody's trying to go carbon free, lower the carbon footprint, go green. That mining it's like a baby industrial computer in wherever you have it. And my daughter says it sounds like a loud hair dryer that turns into a small jet engine. But my wife and everybody, they were cool with it, because that's every time that sucker was humming, it was solving that equation and pushing past the difficulty level and depositing Bitcoin into my account. I was, that's why I love the mining side of it, because you're creating the coin. I don't have to buy from somebody else. It was already in my chest, but about right at 84 cents, boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so, guys. You make a move on something like you get a commentary and someone says hop into SOS, and then when I look at it and it's under $5 and I see this chart, I'm a trader at heart. I can't trade this. this is a speculative. You put the money in there and you don't try to get it out before the spring break ends. This is like, hey, I'm putting 500 in, I'm putting a G in there, and if I lose 300 of it, I'm cutting the cord, or I'm gonna risk the whole thing and I'm gonna just let it sit here for a year. You have to commit to a play if it's a speculative move, because who knows what the hell is gonna happen? Because with mining, they're gonna cut down on mining. You can't mine, and if people say they're mining Bitcoin directly off of CPU cards and GPU cards, the little mining, they're not. You have to use it's a SHA-256 algorithm, and you're going to use an ASICs. Well, it's a small industrial box, man. The thing is like this, and you plug it in, and it draws down on your. It draws on that. It draws off the grid hard. So I think that that's going to be a bull case for like 2 or 3 years down the road for a move into Ethereum. Ethereum is already moving. So y'all look, man, I'm putting money aside right now for a speculative play on Coinbase. I've been trying to invest in Coinbase for like 5 years. And the reason I feel this is not a buy, sell, or hold. I usually do not. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe in trying to trade IPOs. I'll try to, every so often I'll try to catch one on a move, but that's throwing money. I should go to the casino or to the strip club and put $100 out there, and at least somebody's gonna smile at me. But this way, I would throw the money out there, and I just kind of say, "Oh, is it moving up, moving down?" It's not a true trade. But what I do like about Coinbase, and what I've noticed about some of these latest IPOs and direct listings, the data, like the ones who have are data creators or data houses for data, the amount of memberships that Coinbase has is it trumps Robinhood. And people say data is the new oil. I've been saying data is the new currency. People are talking about, oh, this kind of currency, blah blah blah. If they have spending information and spending ideas, like Amazon knows exactly what we put in our basket and remove. They know what we buy. They know the times of year. They know the amounts. They know the who we send it to. The read. I mean, there's so much data that they have. So that's why Amazon's so valuable. That's what we talk about, and we're talking about in our 6 week class. Uh, j- data, and Coinbase has data. And what's the next thing that everybody's trying to get into? Cryptocurrency. They're trying to get into, just the digital currency. Okay, so what's the biggest fear? Well, it's for nefarious activities. You don't know your customer, that everybody's on the black market buying dope. Okay, yeah, they do it with cash too. I seen them in the hood. I seen them up on downtown, or I seen them in the high upper class neighborhoods. But yeah, they use all types of things. But one thing that people want to know, what they get institutional money is comfortable when it's not decentralized, when there's some regulation, when there's oversight. Coinbase kind of started making their move to where they were getting all our information. I don't know if y'all remember when we first started out. I don't think you had to have a lot. Eventually, they came with that KYL or KYC, know your client, and had to put a little bit more information. Had to take a picture of your driver's license. Had to do, you know. So the data is in that Coinbase database, and like the pure crypto people say, "Oh man, it's not decentralized." Well, yeah, it's not. But that's why I believe the institutions are going to come into this thing like hotcakes. Now it might trade up and trade back down, and trade up and come. It might do some crazy stuff, but over a nice long window of time, and I don't know what that block of time is, but I feel that there's value there. This is my assessment. I don't do this with all IPOs. Roblox just popped. Roblox has a lot of the younger kids information, but they have the parents credit card, you know. But Coinbase has the millennial data, and the millennials have, our folks. I got my mama on Coinbase, my wife's on Coinbase, my son, so and they're on Robinhood too. So there's value. Robinhood is going to be another one that's going to have big value. People were frustrated at Vlad for stopping the GameStop trade and blah, blah, blah. But did you see dude needed like 3 billion overnight, and he was able to raise $3 billion within 24 hours? People not talking about that. Dick Gregory said, white folks just don't give you money unless you got to have, they're not just going to give that man $3 billion off of a phone call unless he has a data gold mine, and he's rocking it. And well, I'm cool with Voyager. I'm cool with Voyager and moving my stuff out Coinbase, but I'm a trade this sucker and get it. And they Coinbase was taking all the data, and that's the great. I moved to Kraken because of that, but I like the fact, like what Sean put in there, guys. If you're looking to try to, the idea is, if we get off the grid, and then I'll trade some stocks that are on the grid because people are going to put money in there. Those big mutual funds that are trying to participate in Bitcoin, but they can't. There's some fear, some negative fear. Coinbase gives validity to it. It's like you got a guy that where I grew up with that can ball. He can ball, but couldn't stay eligible. But you go to every pickup game, dude is he runs the courts. But then you had the dude that was a little bit more. He was straight chest pass, pump fake, and could play within the system. And a lot of the coaches always picked him. There's a level of comfort there. I just think there's some money that's going to go into Coinbase. We can watch it. You don't have to just hop in the first day or second day. You can see how it moves. I'm very impatient, man. I got the money sitting on the side, and I'm gonna put that money in there and see what happens. And if you do establish your time horizon, say, look, I'm in here for XYZ. If it doesn't move over these next 3 months, I'm done. Or if it does and I'm losing, you don't have to sell if you have if your time horizon is extended. Now, if it hits 60% of your profit or 6% of your investment, that that might be, you might be risking a little too much. So one of the things that you can look up and start developing is your risk reward or your risk management or your risk parameters. Let's do Plug real quick. Plug Power and Fuel Cell. All right. I like Plug. I'm iffy on Plug. See, my boy Brian Dillard been in Plug probably with like $4. He's been pumping Plug, pumping it. Got up to like 75. Plug is doing right now, it's called a Wyckoff distribution, or just a Wyckoff pattern, where you have accumulation. Then people start saying, oh, okay, a little markup price and a little bit more accumulation. And then word of mouth hits and everybody likes hydrogen. People start taking a little profit. The late runners start to get in a little bit. A couple of late buyers get in. People take their profit. You get some negative news. You get the straight battery cell EV believers. And then you get some negative comments about hydrogen won't be the next wave. Well, it's going to be what you believe, but the pattern right now for Plug is a bearish pattern. This is a true head and shoulder pattern right here. That could be head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and you draw your neckline from the low of the left shoulder to the low of the right shoulder, which will be right in there. Now, when a head and shoulders pattern kind of moves, it doesn't have to go all the way back down to an area. It could break down and find support. Now, what we're looking for support, it's talking to these levels right now. Plug is in this area. If it breaches like this little area I just marked up, that 28.37, if it breaches $28, it's gonna try to come down here and find 22.15, 22.40, right? It's gonna try to get back in this range here. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's been in plug since 10/20. Yeah, so anticipate Coinbase. I think I saw something about Coinbase. They because the valuation is so high. I think like $250. That makes, I can't say it makes sense because we don't. The market doesn't make sense. It's supply and demand, and people are demanding Coinbase. There's a lot of excitement, so I expect a pop and a sell off, or there's something called a gap and go. It could gap up early and keep running. But at some point, if it goes straight up, if it goes parabolic, like I'll do fuel cell in a second, because that's one of the plays on EV guys is going to be the battery technology. That's the separator. How strong is your battery? How long does the charge take? And do you have an infrastructure set up for your charging network? With Beyond Meat, when it was, when it came out, there was a point in time when it went parabolic. Let's go 20 down, 10 up. And it just kept running. It's like, okay, right in this area right here. IPO'd, ran up, pulled back, found support again. And people, you get in the open right there at $46. And it ran all the way to the high in that little period to like 186. And people took profit. And it created a gap right here. And here's a statement: all gaps must be filled. If we look to the right, it took a while for that gap to be filled, but ran up and got to the pinnacle. Now, if you see that pattern right there, see the cross right there, that's a doji pattern. If you see a run up and one day you see that particular item, that candle, that's a reversal pattern ready to happen. It's not a guarantee that it's going to go back down, but the probabilities become stronger when you see the doji. That's an indecision, but it's at the top of a move. So that's an evening star doji. You can pretty much count on a pullback. Now, how far it goes. So those are the things that you look for when you're going to get your run-ups on IPOs. You're going to get a really high, a long candle. You get one and push up, everybody gets excited. You get excited, and then you start seeing the real skinny tails. If you see the skinny tail on top of one of your candles, you might want to take profit and reassess. Or if you already said it's in play, I'm keeping this for a year, 2 years, you don't even just don't watch it. But if you start seeing this candle where the wick, the skinny tail is on top, that means sellers are coming in. If it's the majority of that candle, you use caution. You have to be prepared for the reversal. It didn't go all the way back down, but that's a pretty high. You can go 186 down to the low of 125. So $60, $61. So be careful when you see these little patterns. Those are reversal patterns that you want to prepare for. With fuel cell, I was in fuel cell and I caught a move. All these EVs right now are bearish, doing bearish moves. So what we're looking for, got a head and shoulders right there. Right shoulder, left shoulder, head. I mean, it's the only thing that I could say right now is that you like this company because of the infrastructure of EV down the road. So if you do make a play, it's a speculative play, and we're betting on EV taking over and fuel cell being one of the prime candidates that's going to reap some of the benefits that may come 1 to 5 years from now. So 5 years from now, we look back at 1115, it might be $125, or it could be a year from now, this might be $6.13. And then 3 years down the road, it might be 25. We don't know, but this pattern is telling me it's going to test these levels right in here, and it needs to kind of catch itself and rebuild. So there might be time if that's a hammer candle, it might kind of trend along right here. So I don't know. Plug and fuel cell, they're gonna catch it a little bit. It's just gonna have to be, if you in it, you're in it. You know, you have to live with it. It's just like that. You know, like you tell your teammates, man. No, I don't know, man. Before you came on campus, man, you know, she's herself. And then every time you go on a road trip, man, she's herself. You got to either live with it and respect it, or like, hey, this isn't for me. So in this sector with EV, it's exciting. We catch the excitement, but we're also going to catch the headwinds because nobody is, the full adoption hasn't come. I think we're the early adopters in my opinion. Like with Sean's and Plug and Ride at 84 cents, and anybody, you know, my daughter is in AMD at $4. You know, so that's early adoption. But it takes conviction to buy and hold, because a lot of times we're going to get in, get out, get in, get out. We're going to Bobby Brown it, and then you say, no, I'm gonna keep her, or you know, the lady's I'm gonna keep her, whatever. Make that decision before you hit that buy, and then kind of have your conviction. It's tough, but you know, we can map it out. Let me show you one thing, guys. I made that move on Builder, but I just took profit in my Tesla options today. Finally, I've been trading Tesla for a minute, man, and the setups are there. Tesla has earnings on the 27th, I believe. So the move, okay, we're at the 14th, right? 13th. Okay, this is the play. This is one of the plays, guys. There's a strategy, and I'll talk about it. It's like that 14 days to options expiration, and you can catch a move sometimes, or you can catch a beat down. But you can catch a move. It just depends on the idea is that the stock is going to run into earnings. Now, what you don't want to do, you don't want to hold your option through earnings, and then your expiration is like 2 days later, because this thing Tesla moves, and it can kill folks, or it could make you famous. The thing about this, if you're going to do it, what you get, you either buy the stock and say, I'm holding this thing for 3-5 years or whatever, or if you get the option, you need time. You exit out of that option before earnings, and it might pop, and you could have said, oh man, I would have had $10,000, but it could also drop, and you could say, oh man, it saved me 2,000, you know. So you make that decision. It finally hit these levels of resistance and broke out. Now we're coming up to fill a gap. Oh boy, good Lord. It's a load 7-7. Oh my goodness. And I said I was just gonna wait, man. All right, there's a gap. It filled it with these wicks, crazy wicks. Y'all be careful, man. The support is down here for Tesla 710. It's at 762. So Tesla can go up to that tomorrow and come back down and test 710 like it's nothing. It's nothing. I don't know. Just be careful. If you're doing long term now, I'm bullish long term. I got out of Tesla, took the profits today. It was a perfect candle, and it's still, guys. look up RSI, relative strength index. I live by that. If you're over 70, you're overbought. You're below 30, you're oversold. Doesn't mean that, when you're down here that people are going to start buying, but it's just letting you know that a bottom could be in sight. If you're up over here, it doesn't mean, hey, it's time to short. It just means that if you're getting into it at this point in time, it's over here, know that it's extended. And when it's extended, the strength sometimes runs out of it. So what we look at to combat that is volume, and volume's picking up. So we had a good 44 million today. All right. Let's see the chat. Yeah, I love Tesla though. I can't help it. I cannot help it. It's the poor man's play, guys. I've been putting this in the Telegram group. Poor man's Tesla play is Kathy Wood's ARK. And if you see that candle right here, that's the same breakout candle that Tesla has, and the same resistance. But there's also Roku and ARK. They also have Netflix. So it's not going to move exactly. But when I do show it, I show this. We'll get the 15-minute, and you got ARK on the right, and Tesla on the left. And it's, let me zoom in so you can see it. And if you want to play Tesla, if you want to trade Tesla sometimes, you got the same pattern. It's just a little bit more pronounced right there on the pullback, but you had the push up, pullback. I mean, it's the same pattern. So I go to the ARK, and I hopped out of my ARK calls today because I was just like, oh man, I made a few thousand in Tesla. That little $45 loss in ARK ain't nothing. Let's just go ahead and if I had waited, I would have had a little bit of extra money and could have bought my wife some candy corn or something. But I'm just joking. I don't buy really good gifts like at the holidays. I buy the real good gifts like when it's just a regular day. And that should count for something, y'all. That should count for a little bit. Okay. Look, ARK is a poor man's way to, if you can't get into Tesla, if you feel the setup coming, like April 27th, we have, earnings coming up right there. So you go April 30th and you look down here, people are making a push for ARK at 130. That's not that bad. So ARK is going to react with Tesla within that time frame. Now, if that's the probability. If all of a sudden Tesla's popping up like that, and then you see ARK doing this, there's something else in ARK that has caused that sell off. Whether Roku had terrible news, but Tesla is the ARK has like up to 10% weighted in Tesla. That's the highest weight of any ETF out there. So that was like my reasoning for sticking with ARK and also Kathy Wood. So if I wanted to trade Tesla and I didn't have Tesla money, I'd go to ARK. Let's see. Reading Rainbow. Did I say Reading Rainbow? And guys, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the mics again because I was trying to get this wrapped up so I can get back on my reports, man. Let's see. Hold on. Allow y'all to. Okay, yeah. So we got Brooke in here, Esther, Michelle. I think it's Chocolate Reed, Selena out there, and Sean C. Okay, guys. Thank y'all for coming in. If you want me to hit something before I go, let me know. If not, I'll be back. Here, let me put my email in there. I think y'all have my email. Oh, yeah, I don't do Elliott Wave. Okay, Celine, let me do QUOT. Okay. I mean, Elliott Wave, to me, we generally kind of come out with the same directional play. It's just I haven't studied it like that. My good friend does. Rico is heavy into Elliott Wave, but how you supporting resistance, and I'm a chartist. And it's the same patterns. It's just different, wave one, wave two, nothing. It's just how we use our edge. How we're gonna use that edge. Like when a coach will say, "Hey, man, I want you to go up there and you D up this guy. You're gonna shut him down, blah blah blah. And if you cut him off on the perimeter, uh, okay, we close out, and then we start the break, and you start then like, Coach, dude is on scholarship too. It's not. I mean, you saying it like it's not gonna be a little bit of a battle, but I'm gonna get it done. But just don't say it like, hey, it's that's what we got all the information. Now it's time that we had to decipher it. QUOT. Quotient Tech. I don't know what this is, but it's popping. And I always look to the left, guys, like before I even try to do it. I mean, I want to see like price runs to levels. Price will run to a previous level and react. It just doesn't move. It's gonna move and it's gonna go back to a previous level or a new. Now, when it makes a new high, that's a different story. But if you look to the left and it's been there before, a lot of times it will stop and pick up some shoelaces that it left or left this overnight bag there. It's gonna, can I get that back? That kind of thing. And then it's either take a little profit or trend along this line a little bit and bang its head there and then finally break out again. So this has been a serious run from it's trying to come back to a level that it hadn't seen since 2017. Gamble, okay. That's gonna be big right now. We're at okay, this is big decision right here. That's a spinning top doji, whatever you want to call it. It's an indecision. It hit this level. Now the price is probably going to pull back. Wide spreads, be careful with that, but that doesn't mean anything in after hours. Let's see what QUOT does. Fifty-two-week highs on Tuesday. Announced a partnership with Plum Market Opening Platform, delivering value to regional customers. First quarter financial results. So the earnings, they're behind us, which is good. Mondelez, discretionary stock. Peapod. Since she was pee-popping in the club and got in trouble by her mama. The leading digital promotions and media technology company, MediaTek, announced today the launch of a new promotion amplification tool, media promotion. This is, I think Esther asked about, this is due diligence, this is surface due diligence. Let me know what's going on in the news, any partnerships, and any announcements, any earnings coming up. If you have to check to see if earnings are coming up, because if you get in something and people say they can predict which way a stock is going to go at earnings, you can't predict that. If you could, you would not be here tonight, or you wouldn't be on Facebook, because earnings season you could be so prolific. You use that PP, whatever, the loan that they're giving out for COVID and hit and shut it down. So they're unpredictable, especially after you can say the move was already priced into it because they expected it to beat. And then on a conference call, the CEO will come up and say something foolish. I say foolish, something that we didn't expect. So,
they already had a gap. That already had a gap, a big gap.
right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, and I mean, and the thing about it, that gap didn't fill for earnings. So let's see what the 7th was right there. It popped on earnings. I do always keep a gap in the back of my mind. If I see a gap on a chart, I might play a move, but I always say they're gonna come back and visit that. And it might be months down the road. So this thing could go here or could trade here and pop up and then it start making its way back down. And So beware of the gaps, like Sean says. But right now, it's coming up to a point in contention. I, the move's exhausted to me. There might be one final push up, but I don't know what you want to do with it, Selena. I like the chart overall because it's battled back, but it's basically battled back to a previous level from 2017. You know, the 52-week high, and we'll see if it does come back. It might pull back a little bit here to the six, right below 17. But we do want to keep the
I
gap
was saying
fill.
around that 12 area where that wick is, like that would be my selling point.
I would,
If you're not alone, if you don't believe in the project, that $12 point where that wick is would be my selling point, and that $10, that would be final at that point.
well, with me on that one, I gotta. I think the bear case comes in right here. If we go below this little area, it's gonna be hard to push it back up. If we go below like that 13, the $14 handle,
Okay.
because
I see.
if it right in there, because if it starts coming back down here, it might be magnetized to get through to this gap. Because if it starts getting down here, it's coming for the gap. It's gonna fill this gap. If it so that the line in the sand of like the final, like is 1155 in my opinion. Below that. Let's see. I can't go long on that. The run has happened. We need to see how it acts right up here and just kind of watch it. Uh, let's do the last one for the esports. Need to have my son come on here and talk about. Okay, 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 okay. Got a
I was
head and
surprised by this one. It's actually been doing well. I only bought a couple of shares, but I wish I bought a little bit more because it's been doing okay. It's consolidating, but
I think
it's okay.
I liked it. I'm concerned right now. It needs to make a decision with this hammer candle. This hammer candle could help it pop back up into supply. And I feel we're gonna come back down to retest where the breakout occurred. Not to say, hey, don't buy, don't sell. It's not. It's definitely not a bullish play. It's not. Um, it has to be one that you had to have conviction in from the standpoint of like, okay, we're in a new sector, a new a new area, a new arena, and tried to break out. Basically, he tried to break out above, and it failed, and it may come back down. Let me throw something. I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna put the 50-day on here real quick.
I mean, at like 1265, but I don't even have enough to even talk about. But it's been doing okay.
Yeah, and I kept up with it for a little bit, but I just the gambling play right now for me is gonna be any casino that has the sports book and DraftKings now that baseball
Mm,
season here and all that, but it that still is not a guarantee. It's just let me lower this down right here. But any casinos that have a sports book, when I say like that will allow you to sports bet, place online bets, which is great. But then they also have another moat. They have the brick and mortar building that's still lasting. The reopening will not only boost that once it happens, but they'll already have their sports book in play. Now we've broken through the 50, 200's down here. It this is the bear case is in play for gamble, and it's going to come back down. It's going to retest. It might retest below 10. Um, the exit of 50 50-day could be the exit. And if you want to add more to it, you look for a 21-day. I use a 21-day at times to get a little bit more granular, closer, and it's broken through my 21-day, 50. Yeah, and it might pop and see how it reacts to the 50 because it might hit the 50 and come on back down. I think Gamble is going to come back and retest. What you look for, guys, sometimes consolidations right here, all the way through here. People are picking up shares, low volume. All of a sudden you get the breakout with volume, breakout, and nothing but wicks on top. It's a weak breakout, and now it might come back down and basically retest where the breakout was. And then it might consolidate because I think people are liking esports. It's just the rotation hadn't come into it yet. So pricing is in, $13 isn't that bad. And but be careful. I think that's the last one that I had, and I'm gonna make sure, guys. Yeah, Cleveland Cliffs been looking good. I'm looking at the steel sector, and then I'm CZR. I'm still in Caesars. I think I lost like $200 on an option, but I have shares that I'm holding, and that setup is coming. The entry on Caesars, anything above that 96.10 area, look for a breakout. Get above 96.10 and where is it? The $100, the 38 days. A little pricey for that, but not that bad. The 100 or the 95 calls are pretty solid. Okay, let's see what there is in the chat. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, and thank y'all for coming in. Email me. I put it in there. So y'all have a good night, and I try to get on here a little bit more. I got games during the day, so I'm gonna try to get it rocking. So email me and let me know. Mo and I had that charting course coming up and options course coming up together too. So it's in the Stock Scouts. But all right, y'all have a good night. Be safe. Okay, peace. Brother can never stop the thing.